Hey, it is Friday. Welcome into your go-to show for sports here on the Shore. Delmarva Sports Insider. I'm Anthony Joseph.
And I'm Chris Brunk. Thank you for joining us. We've got so much tonight, Anthony.
You know, we say that every week, and it's just
It's always
the truth.
so much.
Let's go over what we have in store for you on DSI. Tonight, the Sussex Central Golden Knights battle the Smyrna Eagles, and we'll hear from head coach John Wells about this important contest. Also, Skylar Griffin, the former Stephen Decatur ace, will talk about her really good junior season for the New Haven Chargers.
And we've got some high school golf action as Milford took on Delmar at Hooper's Landing Golf Course. Plus, we're sitting down with former football coach Mark Dickerson. But, Anthony, we have to start with racing at Georgetown Speedway.
No, Chris, we were there a while ago. Georgetown Speedway kicks off their season opener at the track. Tonight, they featured one of the biggest events of the year. It was the Mark Hoot Williams Memorial with the Super Late Model Memorial, 26 laps. Then the Modifies, 25, the Crateman Sportsman, the Rush Crate Late Models, the Southern Delaware Racing Club, and of course the Delmarva Chargers. Georgetown Speedway GM Chad Cathell talks about this important race.
So we kick off the night with a hot lap session. Drivers get to go out, feel their cars out, see how their cars are responding, see what their fast times are. It gives them a good baseline to figure out like what is going on under the hood and under the chassis. That sets them up to get ready for their heat races, where they'll go in. They're broken into smaller groups. The heat races, they battle for position to set their starting lineup in the feature events for tonight.
Now, as good as racing is on its own, it was an extra special night at the Georgetown Speedway honoring the 75th anniversary of its construction by Melvin Joseph. 3/4 of a century as a pillar in the community in Southern Delaware. Here's Cathell telling us about the occasion.
Monumental year here at Georgetown Speedway, celebrating 75 years when Melvin Joseph constructed the Georgetown Speedway March 18th, 1950. They ran their first race here, and now here we are 75 years later celebrating his legacy that he started then.
You know, Chris, it was great to be able to go there. A really good crowd. Got to see a lot of people that we know, and they love the sport. I would say probably about 2,500 people there. Really some nice shirts, being able to honor the 75th anniversary of Georgetown Speedway. They've done a lot of improvements to that track. It almost looks like a brand new racetrack.
Yeah, and you said it. That place was packed, and you know this, Anthony. That was my first time out there for a race. You warned me about how loud it was going to be. We had the earplugs. In theory, we had them. We didn't have them with us physically, but you didn't prepare me for the dirt flying off the track. That caught me off guard. It was a really great experience, though.
You keep going, you're going to have that dirt flying. Of course, now we got North Carolina looking to add their first win against Parkside. It was lacrosse. Eagles start off with the ball. Jules Tobat making her way to the goal, bullies her way through, and she will score. North Dorchester on the board. Avery Dunaway from Parkside passes to Ashley Kim, makes her way around the defender, and then another. She scores with that tough shot. Avery Dunaway again with the ball. Getting ready to pass it. A little bit of a delay. Then she shoots, and another score as she has in a very impressive game. The teammates so excited as the Parkside Rams will go on to dominate the North Dorchester Eagles 15-2.
This is the first year that we've had a program, and I think only 4 of the girls had ever touched a lacrosse stick before March 1st of this year. So to be able to get our first win was pretty big for the girls. I mean, a lot of them didn't have a lot of confidence and a lot of experience. So I think that first win was a big hurdle in making them believe that they can win.
Stay updated while we're at these games in real time.
Make sure to follow WMDT Sports on Facebook and X right now. Well, we just saw some lacrosse, but the high school golf season also started this week. Teams getting back in the swing of things. Milford and Delmar out on the links. Teams competing with 6 golfers each, playing double par plus 1. They split evenly into 3 groups of 4, and with a shotgun start, each group plays 9 holes. Once the round is finished, teams add up the 4 lowest scores from their golfers, and the team with the lowest total takes the match. Milford was led by a golfer in their first group, senior Noah Marcel. He shot a 40 on the day. For Delmar, it was Landon Leitner in their second group. He had the best day of anyone on the course. Leitner shot 37, a personal best for the Wildcat. Delmar goes on to win the match over Milford, 167 to 184. Here's Leitner after that win.
For me, that is my personal best, so I'm really proud I could get it done today. But there's definitely a few I'd take back, especially on the green, so working on that. I'm really proud of our team, and I think we can do a lot better. State championship, that's what we want, and that's what we're going to get.
Chris, we're calling our first time out, but when we return, I'll be sitting down with former Seaford head coach Mark Dickerson.
We've got that and a whole lot more when Delmarva Sports Insider returns.
I'm Coach Lacey Lord with Salisbury University Softball, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.
Welcome back to Delmarva Sports Insider. My special guest, former head coach Mark Dickerson. Coach, I really appreciate you being here. First, I want to talk about the new head coach for the Seaford Blue Jays, Glenn Phillips Jr. What are your thoughts, the former Laurel head coach?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's good to have Glenn in Seaford. He's a good guy. He knows his football. He's always been very competitive with the teams that he's coached. I've coached against him, and he always comes up with really good game plans. And, you know, he's really good with his kids. You know, all the kids that I know that he's coached have really respected him. So I think that's a very good hire for Seaford, you know, and I expect to see a lot of good things come from him and the football team that he's going to put out at Seaford. So I just can't wait to see him in that blue and gold.
I think the key is just getting more athletes out to be able to get the numbers up, because over the last couple of years for Seaford, they have just not had a lot of football players go out to play.
Oh yeah, you definitely got to have the numbers. You know, injuries are going to happen throughout the season, and you got to have somebody in there ready to step up, fill in that spot. And you know, if you don't have the numbers, it's really tough on you. So hopefully these kids will buy into his philosophy and get some numbers out and just put out a really good product on the field.
Of course, a lot of good coaches have coached at Seaford. Really, one of the best, your father, Ron Dickerson.
Oh yeah, he had a pretty good run. Did really well, had a lot of great athletes, and you know, it was a great time back then when he was coaching, and you know, we respected him, and you know, we'd do anything in the world, you know, for him, and you know, being a son, you know, I got to see it all the time, you know, and it was pretty neat, you know, growing up in the program and seeing several generations go through Seaford, and you know, just being around those guys when I was little, and even as I coached, you know, just always being around those guys was always a special time in Seaford.
What's the key to have a successful program?
Discipline. It all comes down to discipline and being able to handle adversity. You know, Dad always taught us how to handle adversity. You know, when things go wrong, you just got to pick yourself up, keep on moving. Can't let it get you down. You know, and you know, a lot of teams that we were on and that we had in Seaford, you know, somebody scores a touchdown against us, you know, we're going to make them pay for it, you know. So you got to be able to deal with some adversity. You got to be disciplined, you know, and those were the key things that they always taught us when we were playing football. And we always had a lot of good coaches around us too, you know, a lot of good guys. Besides
Football, you really you like baseball, the Baltimore Orioles,
oh, yeah.
1-1 on the season. They're playing the Toronto Blue Jays 4-game series.
Yeah.
They kicked off the year. They won 12-2. Game 2, they lost today. What are your thoughts? Game 3 tomorrow.
Well, every game's important. You know, it always comes down to the end of the season, 1 or 2 games. So, you know, these early games are very important. And, you know, I'd love to see the Orioles make a deep run into the playoffs this year. They last year they kind of fizzled out there at the end, but you know, I think they got the talent to make a good run this year. It's going to be a good season for them, I think.
They have a lot of Delmarva Shorebirds on the team. Yesterday, one of them, Adley Rushman, hits a 436 feet home run, and just a great day for Adley Rushman.
Yeah, he's a superstar. He's going to be one of the best baseball players to come through the system, and you know, he's got a lot of people there helping him out. You know, Mountcastle, Mullins is still in center field, and you know, they just got a lot of good guys out there playing. Just got to make sure that pitching holds up, you know.
and then they'll be at Camden Yards on Monday for the home opener against the Boston Red Sox. Are you going to be there?
I wish I was. I wish I could be. Yeah, it's going to be a good game, but we always catch a couple games throughout the year, and it's always a great environment there at Camden Yards, and we always have a good time, so hopefully we'll get there a few times this year. Yeah.
Now, we are running out of time, but I want to talk a little bit. Marcus Yarns, the former running back of Parkside, UD. He went to the Reese's Senior Bowl, also the NFL Combine, getting a lot of looks, a lot of interest. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I love this kid as a running back. I've watched him play the last couple of years, and he does it all. He blocks, he can catch the ball out of the backfield, and definitely can run the football. So he's a complete back, So hopefully some NFL team will have some use for him. And I'd love to see him on Sundays playing. I think he deserves it. He's a hard worker, and I'd love to see him play.
Coach, I really appreciate you taking
You're
the
welcome.
time. It's always a pleasure. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Anthony. Well, coming up, police in Queen Anne's County need help identifying suspects involved in a theft at the Nike outlet. Plus, the Delaware Senate approves the creation of a nuclear task force. We'll have those stories and more coming up after the break.
This is David Hearn, head football coach at Delmarva High School, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.
Welcome back, Delmarva. Police in Queen Anne's County need help identifying suspects involved in a theft at the Nike outlet. Just after 2:30 p.m. yesterday, the 4 people pictured in this video are accused of stealing $13,000 worth of merchandise. Anyone with information is asked to contact Deputy Lane at clane@qac.org, or you can call and leave an anonymous tip at 410-758-6666. Meanwhile, Wicomico County Parks and Recreation honoring the legacy of one of their own. This afternoon, the organization unveiled a memorial plaque and renamed a street in Ed Russ's name. Family members say that Russ made bettering the county a personal mission, and a scholarship for student athletes was also established in his honor. Meanwhile, a resolution passed in the Delaware Senate to create a task force to explore the benefits of nuclear energy. The Delaware Nuclear Energy Feasibility Task Force would look into using small modular reactors to help meet the first state's energy needs. The group would be tasked with identifying suitable locations for those reactors and to analyze the long-term economic benefits, as well as compare pricing to other energy sources. It would also evaluate job creation potential and how going nuclear could help contribute to Delaware's energy independence.
The task force work is supposed to be done, and the report's supposed to be done by December 31st. And what I'm hoping is that we'll learn through this process of what the benefits of the small nuclear reactors, and also how we can improve the permitting process so that we can get something like this produced in Delaware.
And that legislation is now headed to the House for consideration. Meanwhile, tomorrow there will be lots of fun to get in on at the Delmarva Decoy Heritage Festival. The festival is being held at the Pocomoke Elks Lodge and the Delmarva Discovery Museum, and it celebrates the deep and rich history of decoy carvings here on the Eastern Shore. There will be exhibits and local carving artists to show off their works and speak with you, the visitors. Organizers say this is a great way to stay engaged with the community.
Oh, it was great to just come down here to downtown Pocomoke City, support the town, and see all the wonderful art that we have here, and supporting all of the great grassroots artists that we have in this area, and let them know how wonderful their work is and how meaningful their work is.
The festival runs from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and admission is only $5. Now let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rich Wardzik. So Rich, are we ditching the jackets this weekend?
I'd hope so, because I tell you, if anybody's going to keep it on this weekend, they are going to be sweating. I mean, it is going to be warm. We're talking T-shirts, shorts, even like me, and don't think it's right just yet to start wearing the shorts, or you just don't want to. It's a good idea this weekend. It's going to be that warm. But I guess my job is also to talk about the negative of the weather we're going to have. I have to, right? That's my job. So fire risk tomorrow. Yeah, the air is incredibly dry right now, and as that warm air pumps in from the south and west, It'll be gusty at times tomorrow, and with that real low relative humidity throughout the afternoon, there is an increased chance for brush fires here across all of Delmarva into southern Jersey there, and you can see even parts of central and southern Virginia. So that will be less of a problem when we go into Sunday because the humidity is going to be going up slowly. And by the time we get to Sunday, there's going to be more clouds. That'll actually keep the temperature down a little bit, but it will be less of an issue with any type of worry about fires on Sunday. Sunday, we're going to get the first couple of showers in this rainfall part of our 7-day forecast. I don't anticipate that to be an issue until after sunset Sunday. And then we get into Monday, and that's where we're going to talk about the threat for some severe weather. And before we get there, we'll talk about tomorrow. We're going to take a run at 80. Last time we got to 80 degrees at the airport in Salisbury, November 7th. 82 degrees. That was easily the warmest day of the month of November. It was still 141 days ago when it was that warm. Speaking of warm, Chucky and Lewis calling in. He says it's great out there. 63 degrees right now. Elsewhere in Delmarva, some places haven't dropped below 60. Dover 61, Salisbury 60, Princess Anne still at 66, and Cambridge sitting at 64. We can thank the southwest wind for that, pulling in all that warm air from the south. That warm front has been to our north all day long. It is a slow mover, but it continues to edge north. That's where a lot of rain has been today, just missing us. We've been the recipient of some clouds, but that has been it. It's been dry so far. High pressure off the coast, but it is driving that southerly flow. And right now there's some active weather to the south and west, but the big storm system that'll bring severe weather our way by Monday hasn't developed yet. It's going to be a couple of days. And when that happens, or before that happens, we're going to continue the warming trend. So there's tomorrow. Morning clouds will give way to afternoon sun. So you might wake up tomorrow morning and look up and like, where's the sun? It's coming. It's just not going to be right away. Sunday afternoon, as I mentioned, we stay dry. A couple showers sneak in after sunset. Sure. They won't be particularly heavy, and they'll be widespread or widely scattered at most. And then it's going to be Monday that we're looking at the threat for severe weather. This is what Sunday evening is going to look like. Another massive potential tornado outbreak, severe weather outbreak for the Midwest and parts of the Mid-South. When that system gets to us, it won't be as dynamic, but I do expect widespread storms Monday evening ahead of that front, some of which could be severe. 54 to 59 tonight, a mild one. Our Holly Kia dog walking forecast tomorrow. Really late spring-like with that temperature of 80. And taking a look at that 7-day forecast, Anthony, after a stormy Monday afternoon and evening, we're back to reality with highs in the 50s Tuesday and Wednesday, but we're back to the 70s Thursday and Friday.
Thanks, Rich. Keep the good weather coming. That's what I want to see, especially for all these sports going on. Stick around. The Sussex Central Golden Knights are undefeated to start the season. Coming up, you'll hear from head coach John Wells as he talks about his team's performance so far. You're watching DSI.
Jim Berkman, Salisbury University men's head lacrosse coach. Man, am I excited to be watching Delmarva Sports Insider.
And welcome back. One former Delmarva player is now having success at the college level. The former Stephen Decatur softball player Skylar Griffin is having a really good junior season for the New Haven Chargers. Griffin recently pitched her first complete game in college, going 7 innings. She also picked up her second win of the season. Griffin talks about being on the mound and just having a really good year.
It's tough. It's long game days. It is tough on your body, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's worth every second. It's worth every little injury, every bigger injury. I'm doing what I love, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Right now, I have to say the screwball. Sometimes I really do love the changeup, but right now I do think it is the screwball because it's a lot of batters either will get frozen by it and they just don't swing the bat, or it just kind of jams them and makes it easier to get like a weak ground ball. So I'd go with the screwball.
Speaking of softball, Anthony, Indian River softball kicked off its season against Delmarva Christian this week. The Royals playing host to Indian River, and IR started out fast. 2 on with 2 outs in the first inning. That starting pitcher, Zoe Quillen, with a base hit up the middle, scoring both runners. Indian River up 4-0 after 1. Now in the third, Gracie Hoban rips one to right field with 2 outs off the wall, and Hoban wheeling into third base with a stand-up triple. 2-out lightning for Indian River here. The pitcher Quillen again with an RBI knock up the middle to score Hoban, the IR first baseman, scoring again, but her big day was not quite finished. It's the top of the 6th when it's Hoban again. 2 outs, deep to right field, exact same spot off the fence. Hoban hustling on the base path for her second triple of the day. And just like clockwork for Indian River, Quillen stings one through the infield to bring home Hoban. 4 RBI for Quillen as she pitched a gem too. 0 runs allowed. Indian River beats Delmarva Christian 10-0 in 6 innings to open their season. Here's head coach Sarah Powell on how their offense was operating and how important the 1-0 start was.
We talk about when you have a 2-0 count, you're not looking for another ball, you're looking to drive the ball. When you have a 3-0 count, you're not looking for a walk, you're looking to drive the ball. And those are some things that our batters did today. And I just think that making those adjustments is what helped us get through the game. No better way to start than with a W. There was a lot of really good things that we saw in the game. We preached before the game just doing the little things right, and I think they came out and did that. Given that we don't have practice tomorrow, we jump right into a division rival game, so it was a good way to start.
And Sussex Central softball took on Smyrna Thursday afternoon. Bottom of the first, Ava Brock laces one by second base. Smyrna can't corral it. And there goes Carly Kruger in to score for the Knights. Brock notches the RBI, 1-0 Central after the first inning. Now bottom of the third, Nakira Copes base hit to right field. She'll get 2 runs batted in. Kruger scores again, and Lauren Myers crossing home plate. Central still on top after the third inning. On defense, pitcher Tamora Hall was on fire. She was living in the zone. She was making plays in the field. Hall was key in the Golden Knights' defensive effort against Smyrna. 7 innings, the Eagles shut out by Central, 3-0. After the game, head coach John Wells talked about Hall's performance in the game.
We had great pitching, first of all. It starts in the circle, and Tamara just threw a whale of a game today. She stayed ahead in the count. She didn't walk any batters. She went after the bigger hitters, and they have some good hitting players. And she was able to handle them. So she and the pitching coach, I thought, were in tune today. And that's where it starts. And when the other team doesn't score, it always got a pretty good chance to win.
So with Sussex Central, it starts with pitching. They're 2-0. They started against Conrad. They won there. They won against the Smyrna Eagles, 3-0. And Coach John Wells, of course, every year he has those high expectations to get back to the championship game. And if he has good pitching like that, he's going to be there. Also, Indian River, phenomenal, goes back to pitching. Really the big trio, especially with Gracie Hoban and Jillian Colburn. And also you have Sophie Skirtsey. So the big 3 for Indian River, and then you have the pitching also mixing it in. So really 2 good teams, Indian River and Sussex Central, starting out so far undefeated.
Yeah, it certainly looks like they're going to, maybe be the teams that are going to rise to the top. Obviously, it's early in the season, but if you're a Sussex Central fan, that has to be so encouraging to see a freshman step onto the rubber like that and, perform at the level that Hall did in that game against a pretty solid Smyrna team. You look at their roster and you're like, how in the world are you supposed to replace a player like Madge Layfield? But, getting freshman talent like that, that's a pretty good start. And that's a pretty good start to the season for Sussex Central.
Coach Wells just reloads with talent every year, and so we'll have to see what happens this year.
Well, coming up next, find out who will be our WMDT Athlete of the Week. You're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.
My name is Sophie Skirtsey, and I'm playing softball, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.
All right, and welcome back as we take a live look here in Georgetown at the Shore Auto Sales Skycam. And a little bit of breeze going on earlier in the week that made it feel nastier to be outside. Well, that breeze is actually responsible for it being so warm, and that's where we're headed here for the weekend, trying to take a run at 80 tomorrow. But that breeze, gusty at times, will create some issues for our marine interests tomorrow. Taking a look at the marine forecast, you see small craft advisories out for the Atlantic Ocean and the Chesapeake Bay. I mentioned earlier, too, that gusty wind will increase the brush fire and the natural cover fire risk tomorrow specifically. The air's still really dry. That south wind, though, is adding more humidity to the air. It's just going to take a while. So Sunday, less of a fire risk. We're still going to be very warm at 75. And then we get into the chance of some big storms on Monday as a cold front arrives. And at the beaches, still very nice this weekend. And Chris and Anthony, we're talking about the return to reality with temperatures Tuesday and Wednesday. I mean, after talking 70s and 80s, this 50s, yeah, I'm just going to be happy to put the jackets away for good. I don't know about you guys.
Thank you so much, Rich. Now it's time to unveil the WMDT Athlete of the Week. Is Tamora Hall, the freshman for the Sussex Central Golden Knights softball team against Smyrna. She picked up the win for the Lady Knights. She only allowed 1 hit, 12 strikeouts. Amazing performance. In her first game against Conrad, she struck out 12, a lot of strikeouts in just 2 games. Congratulations to Tamora Hall, the WMDT Athlete of the Week.
And we want to hear who you think should win next week's award. Send in your suggestions to our email, sports@wmdt.com.
Make sure you do it this week. This past week on After the Whistle, we took a look at Deltex baseball starting second baseman Philip Lamedica. Chris, who is up next?
Well, Anthony, we're going back to basketball. We've got Y-High's Tyson Hayward coming up. The junior wing was the Tribe's only all-conference selection this past season. He's got his sights set on some really big goals for his senior year. You'll have to tune in to find out what those goals are. That'll be Monday during the news hour. You won't want to miss it. Going to Y-High throughout the year, I really loved his game.
We're all out of time. That's going to do it for tonight. As always, thank you so much for watching.
And be sure to keep up with us this weekend all over social media.
Have a great night.